Hi, everybody. Okay, so I know we're just getting a lot of information in, amazing information. And we want to say thank you so much for the government officials, the law enforcement community for uh, s- entrusting us with just amazing inside intel information that we can share with the public. And, there's requests with that information. Um, because there's ongoing investigations. And so we are releasing it to all of you so that you can share it, so you can understand what's going on. I spend a lot of time um, creating maps and illustrations for all the information that we're getting so that you can share it so people can understand it because we have the betrayal, we have this top criminal activity, trafficking, fraud, you name it. Um, we absolutely have identified all of that, which lead to a gateway to the world. Okay, this Mormon faction El Paso cartel in alliance with the Mexican cartel, with the Jeffrey Epstein, all the way to the John of God pipeline. Then with the Los Alamos Santa Fe laboratory, and then of course Texas Tech University Health Science Center, their research connecting to even those from Chicago, like the Obamas, um, i- their reach, because it is this top government power is reaches to the uh, this is the doorway to the world. It reaches out to the world. These tentacles go out to the world. And so what we've seen, and I think maybe, maybe they understand it, but maybe they're missing it. The people that are investigating um, the case of Charlie Kirk. I have to be careful with my words. I don't want to be shadow banned. Um, they tend to focus just on a small group, a small I mean a one it's one country, right? They want to blame it all on. Um, not all of them, but this is where the focus is. They're trying to focus on one. They blame one, and I think that the picture is much larger than that and includes, of course, we know that this is all connected. And we have given you the information that shows that uh, Charlie Kirk's case, the attempts on President Trump's life, and the taking of Richard, um, taking his life brutally, and stealing his body, and all of the terrible things that they did to him. Um, this is all connected, and I would say even connected um, to the killing of, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, the taking of a life, uh, the legendary, most decorated FBI agent in El Paso history. I want to make that very clear, Julio Cordero. Um, you know, that case is huge, huge. Okay. And is very, of course, Richard's case is, the elephant in the room that nobody wants to talk about because it's so big. It's so big. And it's connected, of course, to this uh, Mormon faction, El Paso cartel, in alliance with the Mexican cartel, and also an alliance with this whole Jeffrey Epstein to John of God pipeline and the poison pawns that Julio Cordero was investigating, and he said he had two more that he was uh, that were at large, that were on his list. That because over 40 were arrested with poison pawns, and there was two at large that he was still investigating, and he revealed who those two are. And I just want to say that the law enforcement have those names. Okay? The law enforcement has those names. And so I what's going on with the Julio Cordero who was um, gunned down by El Paso ISD officer Anthony Acuna. You know, just shooting in the dark, not warning that he's shooting in the dark. They had to have closed casket because of the damage to his face. And uh, this is a legendary FBI agent of Poison Ponds. I It's very hard for me to believe that they didn't know who he was. Okay. And Franklin High School is the school that his son goes to. So there's well, we know because of the documents that we have received, autopsy we have received, that there has been tampering in this case, just like tampering in Richard's case. Okay. And they want to hide information. And why do they want to do that? Because um, these heroes, our son Richard Halliday and Julio Cordero, were exposing this this Mormon faction, El Paso cartel, in alliance with this whole trafficking Mexican cartel, with this other Ponzi scheme, elite Ponzi scheme, uh, trafficking network of Jeffrey Epstein to John of God. And everything that we have, and I'm wearing the red hat, right? The MAGA hat. Everything that we have, um, and trust me, we have looked through, oh gosh, years of researching every day, investigating every day, looking through leads, documenting crimes, um, all these different agencies. And I can tell you that Richard, sparkling clean. Julio, absolutely deserving of everybody's respect. What happened to him, there needs to be accountability. And I think that's coming. I think that's coming. That's looking really good. Um, and President Trump is looking very, very good. Very good. And he is the most scrutinized, isn't he? He is scrutinized every day. And the lies and projections that are, you know, put on him need to be scrutinized also. And so that's why we are absolutely, we want to voice that because there's just so much false information out there that we want to make sure that people understand that there are ongoing investigations, that there is the dismantling of this huge trafficking. Look, just stopping this whole drug trafficking network, okay, just hurting it and stopping it is not crumbs, y'all. It's not crumbs. It is huge. I think it's like upwards of $100 billion a year. That is a huge amount of money to be able to, not to mention, save the health and families, the destruction of that trafficking, but also the economy of it, to put that money back into things that produce things and can help the communities and make life better. Okay, because that trafficking is going to the network of this, uh, really, people that are just monsters that are up to no good. Monsters that are up to no good. And so and this group that has infiltrated our military intelligence there at Fort Huachuca. Now that is already proven. That is already proven, and I'll show you. I'll matter of fact, I'll put up the screen so that see, I'll show you through the screen because I think that that helps a lot. Um, and I'll start at the top and work down. Maybe that is. There's so much information. Oh my gosh, y'all. So much work that we have been doing. So here's the live stream that talks about Manny Chavira, who was just uh, until a couple days ago was the chief of police for the El Paso Independent School District, which is a very huge deal in El Paso. Okay, and he has now quote unquote retired. Uh, I think he was pushed out because of ongoing investigations. And he committed a felony by taking that job because when he took that job, evidence confirms he did not have a peacekeeper's license. He was offered the chief of police um, of the El Paso ISD, which is a very big deal because they have tunnels underneath these schools that are on the border that go right over into Mexico. Um, yes, because El Paso is an ancient city and also known for its trafficking. Okay, so you need to have someone that has experience and is trained and has a peacekeeper's license. To take that job without that is committing a felony. So, right at the go, just days after the Walmart mass shooting, which he played a part in, and uh, this liaison situation that he was at during that time. And we know that the El Paso um, Walmart mass shooting was, uh, let's just say it was weaponized. It was weaponized against President Trump. And here, Manny Chavira, days later, gets the chief of police situation for El Paso ISD. Um, and there's just a lot of conflicts there because his his wife, of course, now we haven't really mentioned this, but I think it is worthy to mention today because his wife came on our site without identifying who she was, to tamper and intimidate a witness. We are a witness to um, Manny Chavira's, what's happening with the cases, with the Acuna, Julio Cordero case. Um, and she's coming on, not even identifying who she is, and that she was a police officer at one point, and that she was even, um, and I'm going to say it in a nice way, dating Jesus Eddie Nieto Jr., who it was the FBI agent that was part of this leaking of our son's information with Colin Wetton, right? And he was reprimanded for the relationship that he had with Chavira's wife. Um, and also she came on using Vanessa Guillen's image. And I think, um, I hope that Vanessa Guillen's family um, will be offended by that, because we were very offended by that. Um, yeah. So, and especially to come on and intimidate witnesses. I mean, that's what that was. So, and we've had so much of it. You could say, "Oh, well, how do you know?" or whatever. Well, because this has been over 5.5 years of ongoing harassment, intimidation, all of that, and all of the um, documenting of those instances and filing it. We haven't been silent about that. We have been filing these instances of harassment and intimidation and threats to our life. Um, so we're not going to take a chance, because look at what they did to our son. Look at what they did um, to Charlie Kirk. Look at what they did to so many. And I don't want to name names because these are ongoing cases. So, what they do to whistleblowers, um, yeah, it's terrible. So, yeah, we document and we file. We document and we file, and um, it's a lot of work. We're getting faster at it. Um, just because we've done so many, but it's a lot of work. And I think that it's having an effect in El Paso, because with Manny Chavira retiring, I think that indicates that he is under investigation, that his office is under investigation, and our um, our opinion on the whole thing is that it's because of Julio Cordero, and 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 that tampered evidence, and them not releasing the body cam footage, the tampering of the crime scene, calling in so many like Michael Gonzalez, and getting coaching Anthony Acuna, who was the El Paso ISD officer, bringing in Texas Ranger, DPS Texas Ranger Cody Carter, um, and really lying to the Attorney General Ken Paxton. I mean, this is a level of cover up that they're doing, that they are committing one crime after the other. So I think that that's why they are under investigation. Um, uh, I think that that's a pretty safe statement, enough to say it out loud, right? So that's what I want to say about that. There's so much. Matter of fact, I wrote some. Yeah, yeah, I wrote some notes down on that. Okay, so here it is. Jeffrey Epstein and Beto and Obama. you know, with all of the double gangers, they really look alike, don't they? They really look alike, and of course, it's just a wonder. It's just a wonder. Um, something fishy is going on. Something doesn't smell right. Because when people come out of nowhere to become president of the United States, like, can you imagine Beto O'Rourke? Or, you know, it's just, and where did Obama come from? It just seemed like he came out of nowhere. Um, yeah, and then absolutely that these three have major history connections. We had a lawyer for Obama just quit because of her connections with Epstein. She just resigned, and we know that Beto O'Rourke's father-in-law bought a ranch right there, a little southeast of Santa Fe, really bordering neighbor of Zorro Ranch, Epstein's ranch. And they bought it at just about the same time, the early 1990s. They bought it at the same time and they sold it in the same their ranches. And this connection with Santa Fe Laboratory, with the Los Alamos researchers, right? Scientists. Um, and Obama's going there to Santa Fe. It's pretty elite little town, little city. Um, in the arts world, and yeah, connected, connected. They're just so connected. It's just please look some of that up, and let us know what you find too, because it's a lot. They're very connected, and this is a big deal because that's what you find. You're not finding President Trump there. You're finding um, this connection with Bill Sanders, with Beto having his wedding right there on the Sanders Ranch. That was, bordering Zorro Ranch. I mean, right there. I think you could drive, minutes, minutes, and you'd be in. You could go visit your neighbor Epstein's. Um, and to buy it at the same time and hold this kind of Ponzi scheme for, the elixir of eternal life, to mathematically monetize this biology discovery and offer that to, to the high players, and the high players then had to be compromised. And that's where all of these terrible crimes against children, and terrible things in the trafficking, how that all happened. It was absolutely to compromise. It was a guarantee and an insurance policy, um, that uh, that they could carry out this Ponzi scheme with impunity, and everybody, when you watch these videos and stuff and pictures of Epstein, they're all like worshiping him, it's like, it's weird. It is so weird. So yeah, it reminds me of a book by Anthony Trollope, How We Live Now. I think that's what it's called, The Way We Live Now, something like that. And it's all about a Ponzi scheme, and I, with the elites, right? A high target Ponzi scheme, not the lotto game, right? Not the um I never do that, play the numbers and stuff like that, because I just feel like it's such a scam. But that's a low thing. Um, no, this is a high target, high money Ponzi scheme. And I can say that with surety because of my faith. Um, this whole transhumanism thing, Um, but what it produced, the Ponzi scheme produced, is this human trafficking and drug trafficking and weapons trafficking and all this terrible, terrible, destructive, um, um, I would say, black market or the black economy, the underground economy. I think that's this underground illegal economy, that's so destructive, right? It's just a highway to hell, just it really is. So, yeah, that's this point here, and we have where he lists out what he's trying to do with the eternal life thing, trying to find it. And then in the interview, he talks about how he wanted to take this biology and mathematically turn it into a financial instrument. And I think that's really important for people to understand. Um, so here is how he financed, even after his 2008 conviction of the worst type of crimes against children and the trafficking. He's financing his pilot's daughter's education. And Brooke is very interesting because she's military, right? And she was studying neuroscience, and she's then went into be a MI, military intelligence, there at Fort Huachuca, um, which is just jaw dropping, right? That she got secret clearance, top secret clearance granted to her, access to our national security. And here, because when you get this top secret clearance, and even in the email, it says it took a year and a half to get it, right? Because they will have to look at every flight, all her information, all her connections, everything. She's connected to a convicted um, child, the worst type of crimes against children person with that was trafficking, and they gave her top clearance. Yeah, yeah, there's something wrong there. But this is proof that he was paying for her, and she's taking money from him even after he's convicted. She's like, "Oh yeah, pay for my school, or let me use your apartment there in New York to do my job interviews." That's the other daughter, right? So, yeah, this is really a very, very big deal because she's taken money from a convicted um, child offender. Okay. Uh, so this here is how, not only that, she took flights to, uh, you know, following the pipeline. She took flights with Jeffrey Epstein, with Ghislaine Maxwell. And this is the manifest that prove that she took that. And this absolutely proves that our military intelligence is compromised because she's taking these flights on this Lolita, whatever Express. Um, and she gets top secret clearance. She's getting her school paid by Jeffrey Epstein, and she's getting top secret clearance. I think that she should have been given a different job, right? But no, they gave it to her, and this is over the signal. This is over, this Fort Huachuca that can let these planes go and traffic more. So, and we also know the connection with Lori Franchi, with the mother of Erica Kirk, and then they're on Fort Huachuca, and then also our CAO, This goes to the next one. Our CAO, our first CAO, we've had, I think, seven CAOs right now. And he was our first one for a long time, probably the longest one. I don't know. Um, my husband could tell you he's the one that dealt with them, but um, this I dealt with this guy too, this Joshua Lyons, and we caught him red-handed deploying his asymmetric warfare tactics, his deception, everything, because he was an asymmetric warfare officer. That is out of Fort Huachuca. Okay, of course it's Fort Bliss, Fort Huachuca, but that connection with Epstein's pilot's daughter, with Joshua Lyons, with uh, Erica Kirk's mother, Lori Franchi. They this is a small community, this military intelligence, Fort Huachuca. Um, so the chances of them knowing each other, especially since he's researching for articles and books and stuff to write about military asymmetric warfare deception, right? Um, yeah, he that sounds like Erica Kirk might have taken lessons from him, because I just look at her now like she's a Delilah and Samson and Delilah, sent in there to see how she could weaken and take down the power of Charlie Kirk. That's how I see her. Um, you know, uh, is just yeah, is just really interesting. Yeah, you're putting out um, some lots of information there. So if that is not jaw dropping, but I really want to stress um, that there is ongoing investigations right now, and the sign of Manny Chavira quitting is really good. And of course, we have um, Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe um, quitting. That's a good sign that there is really a lot of pressure within this ongoing investigations. And President Trump has um, made it very, very clear that he wasn't going to tolerate this. And so we're very happy to report that so much is happening behind the scenes, and we are our economy is set to really, because of the reports that we're getting, it's going to be like a golden age for our economy. So if we can really stop, just I don't think you can stop 100%, but maybe 98% of this drug trafficking, $100 billion, and then all the fraud, the theft, and everything, billions and billions, maybe even up to $1 trillion of all of this fraud that's going on. And to the number of jobs going to Americans right now that are in construction for a lot of these AI buildings and stuff like that. It's just amazing what we're seeing in the numbers. And I think we're on the verge of a real golden age. And that will give an assurance, that will give, a whole different attitude. And that's what we need in order to get our son's remains back. This is the vicious negotiation period where things are pretty, there is back and forth, back and forth. You see that. And it's a lot of arrests going on, a lot of complaints going out. But once we really get settled in, which I think is already happening, um, then we'll be in a really good position to have effective negotiation for our son's remains. So the pressure, it's the pressure. So and then an attitude of relief, because I think the people have been on edge for so long, fearing retaliation, right? Fearing their own life, their own livelihoods. You saw that in the one case also, um, with, I'm trying to remember, the Castellano case, where the wife is just absolutely saying that the whole arrest and everything of JT, Juan Torres, the very corrupt and compromised DPS, Texas Rangers, who need to give back their hat, right? Because they don't deserve their hat. They're very corrupt and they are a national security threat to public safety. And I think Miss Cassiano really makes that very, very clear in the dismissed case. And I think that's an important case too going on right now. So, yeah, we see it very clearly. Um, and we're just so grateful that all of you are entrusting in what we're putting out and sharing it and sharing it and sharing it, because we are a government of the people, by the people, for the people. And it's uh, getting out the information is 99% of the battle. That's why you have so much media fraud, because they know that they have to control your mind through the media, restrict your knowledge. Um, and so we're just getting this information out to you to share. And we're very, very grateful for that. Please continue to share, and we will be back tomorrow, God